Hello everyone, I'm Brian. Today I'm reacting to Sadhguru at Mount Carmel College, Bengaluru, Youth and Truth. Bengaluru. I hope I pronounced that correctly. So anyways, we haven't done one of these in a while. Let's go to get started. I did skip the intro part too.
Namaskaram, Sadhguru. It's an absolute privilege to have you among us today. Our girls are super excited, as you can see.
They were excited when Ranveer Singh came, I saw. Not
It's an absolute joy to have you among us today. Before we begin, I will quickly introduce the panel to you. This is Kajal Hamjad. This is Anjali Chandrana. And I will be your moderator for today, Anisha Koshi. So we can begin with the first question. So we've had an array, a plethora of questions come in from the entire student body. Teachers too wanted to sneak in a couple of questions now and then. But most of these questions have come in from our active student body, either through social media or otherwise, as personal formats as well. So the questions are representative of the mass. It's not an individual question that we will be asking.
A question doesn't need so much explanation.
So let's dive right in. So Kajal has the first question.
So I think the first question as such is something that happened in recent time. So I'm pretty sure everyone knows about Section 377 being decriminalized. Yeah. And I think most of the youth, everyone, me, I think most of us would have gone back home. We're very happy about this. And we talk to our parents and people from the older generation. Right? So this is something that I do with my parents on a regular basis. We sit and we discuss a lot of topics. So this is something that happened to me and something that I've heard from a lot of people as well. So when we discuss something like this with our older generation, they said, we are not going to debate with you as such. We're not going to impose our perspectives on you. But this is not accepted in our religion. Right? So when I took a step back and I thought how difficult it would be for kids, for youth from the LGBT community to come out to their parents, and at the same time when the parents pose this restriction that it is not accepted in our religion, how does a child and how does a parent deal with it? And sometimes a parent does cut off from their child as well. So just want to know your perspective on the LGBT community or homosexuality as such with religion, and at the same time how a parent and a child should deal with it, because I think a relationship between a parent and child is so important, right? And to lose something on that lines is not something.
Okay, so understand what I think 377 is. I believe it's just homosexuality, I believe, right? It seems like it anyway. She said LGBT though. I assume it would be LGB, yes. Lesbian, gay, and bi. Amazingly, gay used to mean, obviously both the male and female. But gay, I think, has been exclusively male now, and lesbian exclusively female, then you have the bi. I don't know, I mean, it kind of sucks that there are people out there who cannot accept their child for their sexuality. You like what you like, and that's really it. You can't control that. So long as you're not forcing your ways on other people, your ideas on other people, I think it should be fine. I don't know. I guess there's no real hints or clues or things you can really tell, I don't think. I can't wait to hear what Sadhguru has to say about it. But the only thing I'll say this is that the parents should, anyone generally speaking, should ask this. I guess you can use this as a way to talk to your parents or whatever. Do you care more about who I sleep with or whether I'm happy with who I sleep with? Really weird question to say, but you could say it that way. Because if I sleep with someone and I'm unhappy with them, would you prefer that? Or would you prefer I sleep with someone that I'm happy with? Or I'm with someone that I'm happy with? Or be with someone that I'm unhappy with? Although that I think about that, especially when I say it that way, I do remember there is an Indian restaurant, I talked about it earlier, where I go do my hobby at, apparently the husband and wife are having issues, but they're not gonna divorce, but they will be separated, which I think is, I don't know if it's a good or bad thing, you know. That means you can't find someone else that can make you happy, you know, find someone else to love. Don't get me wrong, I don't think they should just give up immediately if there's trouble. I think they should try to work things out, absolutely. Give it a fair shot, give it a try. Then if they can't work things out, then they should get a divorce. And find someone else, you know. But anyways, and maybe it's a little bit more strict in the Indian culture, perhaps, in terms of divorces. But anyways, I guess you can use that as an example too. It's the fact that, imagine, do you know anyone that's married and together but they hate each other or don't like each other? And you can use that as an example. Would you prefer for me to have a life like that, where I'm miserable and I'm with someone I don't love? Or would you rather see me happy with someone I love? I mean, something like that. Is it going to work? I have no idea. The culture is definitely different. This culture is going to be different everywhere.
Probably till now, largely in the social space, in the media space, in the social media space, everybody is pitching either for or against. Can we for some time not pitch for or against and simply look at the issue as it is? Can we? Look at me, I'm not a prude, okay? Let that be clear. So, when we say sexuality, let's understand this. It is something nature has put in us because there is something called as perpetuation of the race or the species, otherwise it won't happen. Of course, we being human beings, having more brains than body, supposed to, because of that, we kind of eliminated the reproductive part and just using the pleasure part of it, all right? This is sexuality right now largely in the world. But essentially, this pleasure also is come into the sexuality process because otherwise, well, if there was no pleasure to it, maybe we wouldn't be born, you and me. Our parents would not have gone into it if there was no pleasure at all attached. Yes or no? So we are here because of that. So there is no denying it or putting it under the carpet, that's not the thing. But somebody has a certain kind of sexual preference which has got nothing to do with reproductive process as such. It is their personal preference. Because every individual has the right to do whatever the hell they want to do with their body, because it's their body. But if it is something harmful, you're going to cut your nose off or you're going to cut something else off, then maybe we will try to prevent you. But you're not causing any harm to yourself in that way, then it's your business as long as you do something in your private. Right now, the Supreme Court decision is just that what a person does in their private space is nobody's business. Government need not enter people's bedrooms, that is the law, all right? And I think it's right. But at the same time, why so many of you are upset about it or for it or against it is simply because there has been a campaign around the world. I'm saying the campaign should stop. There may be a few people who are oriented that way, leave them alone, it's their business, all right? Even if you're a heterosexual, you don't go about talking it on the street. Hello? You don't, isn't it? Because private matters must be handled that way unless you give some sanctity to this body. Please understand this. The fundamental difference between animal nature and human nature is this: we are doing the same things that they do. They earn a living, they go around, they reproduce, they die. We also do the same thing. We think a lot about it and we make a whole lot of fuss about it, but we are doing the same thing. Only difference is we can do all these things of eating, sleeping, reproducing, everything more consciously. Because of that, we hold ourselves little different from the other creatures. Otherwise, what's the big difference? You may think there's a difference, other animals are looking at you and thinking, what about you? Isn't it? So, this is the fundamental process. Now individual people have some choices. I don't think it needs to become a national or international issue, it's their business, what they're doing. But at the same time, there is no need to campaign for it or against it. There's no need to campaign against it, there is no need to campaign for it. If you allow nature to take its course, the percentage of people who will fall that way are extremely small. But because of a whole campaign going on in the world, the number of people entering that space has become bigger, much bigger than what it should be. Having said that, your parents being upset about it or not coming to terms with it, if they're doing it for religious reasons, well, there may be a lot of trash in every religion, there is. But there is also some wisdom gathered over the times in every religion, yes or no? So this wisdom, some people are calling it religion, some people are looking at it just sensibly and doing what they have to do. Some people read religious texts and come to this wisdom because they're not able to figure it out themselves. So do you have to agree with all the things that they say in the religion? No. But do you have to simply blanket disagree with everything? That'll be foolish. Because human experience cannot be thrown away, isn't it? Thousands of years of human cultural experience cannot be just thrown away. We have to take what is sensible and what is not. So when it comes to this aspect, they know the consequence of this. See, when you're at this age, the most attractive word is freedom. Hello? Well, I come from the 60s. You know what 60s? So, freedom is the word. In this… but since then I've looked at human mind in so many ways. The moment you utter the word freedom, people will end up doing freaky things. Because freedom is a consequence. It is not a thing that you do. See, freedom is not an act, freedom is a consequence of how I experience my life. Freedom comes out of a responsible existence. If you think of the consequence without taking care of the process, you will always end up as a disaster. I must tell you this. Well, at least 12 to 15 of close friends that I had when I was growing up, they all died before they're 35. Well, some of them, because we were living on motorcycles, they got killed on the motorcycles, rest drank themselves to death, others drugged themselves to death. At least 12 to 14 people who were very close to me, who were around me, all died before they're 35 because freedom. You understand?
It's really interesting and weird that, I remember a time when I thought, freedom of choice was a really good thing, or freedom, just in general, is a good thing. I forget what point I started to think, why is too much freedom a bad thing? Why is that the case? Because people don't know how to control themselves. I don't know if I still want to say that we shouldn't have complete freedom. I don't know. Because it's up to every individual's person to take responsibility for their actions and what they do. So for example, like his friends there where they died in the motorcycle or drinking or drugs, that's their choice. My freedom should not be affected because someone else made a dumb choice or a bad choice, Most of the choices are generally going to be dumb. Some will be bad, Dumb choices like drugs and alcohol. A bad choice would be a motorcycle. You still need transportation, but if you can only afford a motorcycle, then I won't say it's necessarily a bad choice, but you get what I'm saying. I don't know. It's like, is too much freedom a bad thing? I suppose.
Freedom was the real thing. They became free, and they became free. Death is definitely freedom. So, one thing that young people should learn is, don't utter the word freedom, because freedom is a consequence. It's something that you have to earn. It doesn't come as a philosophy. In 60s, we thought it's a philosophy. If you live responsibly, you will see freedom will come. When I say responsibly, not in the sense of civic responsibility, if you retain your ability to respond to life without any prejudice, without any restriction, you will see you will become free. Your ability to respond, if it is unlimited, it is freedom, isn't it? Now, coming to this religious resistance, there's nothing religious about this. Sexuality is a biological process. Yes? The very fact that nature created opposites, it has some intention. Well, some people didn't take to natural ways, it's okay, it's their choice. We don't have to discriminate against them, we don't have to persecute them.
I'll say this, he said, it's their choice. That's the kind of the argument that a lot of religious have in the United States. It's like, oh, they're gay because of their choice. I don't know if you can say it's their choice, because there are people out there who are, obviously we are attracted to certain people. So you're not attracted to every girl, you're not attracted to every guy. So therefore it's not a choice, because there could be a very, very amazing girl, but you're not attracted to them at all. So it's not a choice. And I just wanted to be I guess I want to bring that up because it was a very good argument, not an argument, a very good statement that was made by a religious person. It's like, oh, they're choosing to be homosexual. It's like, nah, not really. You know, you like what you like. You can attempt to like something that you don't like. Maybe it works. Highly doubt it.
We don't have to put them in the prison, definitely it's not necessary. But at the same time, it doesn't need promotion either. Now, when I say freedom and responsibility, this is like this. See, suppose you want flowers in your garden. If you sit in your garden and every day do flower meditation, flowers will not come. If you want flowers, you don't have to even think about flowers. You must think soil, manure, water, sunlight. Soil doesn't feel like a flower. Manure doesn't smell like a flower. Water doesn't look like a flower. Sunlight doesn't feel like a flower. But if you take care of these things, flowers will happen, isn't it? This is the way life works. So, the important thing with our lives is, this is a very westernized approach, that we are looking at the goal. We want the product, we don't want the process. Now, if you're devoted to the process, if you're truly devoted to the process that you're doing right now, you will naturally do your best. Everything that you have, result will come or no? Result will come or no? It'll come. Just because you sit here and desire the result, it's not going to come. You will only have plastic flowers in your head. Flowers will not grow in your garden. So, this is a time of life. I'm surprised, like it's not just you, just about anywhere I go, young people are asking only this question. What this means is, they are trying to live too early. See, this is a time to grow, this is a time to enhance yourself, because your ability to enhance yourself and grow will not be the same after 10 years, believe me. Your ability to learn will not be the same. Your ability to grow physically, emotionally, intellectually and in consciousness will not be the same after 10 to 15 years' time. So this is a time to grow. When it's time to grow, if you try to live too much, some life you want to taste, but if you try to live too much, you will see your growth will be impeded and your life will be stunted in so many different ways.
And now, I don't know if this is what he means by this, but I don't know if people understand this either. This is how I interpreted it. So basically, there are children out there who grow up too fast, and essentially they kind of they don't develop well. They don't become well-rounded adults because they grew up too fast. So you look at child actors, at least in the United States, there are a few child actors who, I don't know how it works, but they grew up too fast, and now they're like drug addicted, or they're not well suited, not necessarily well suited, they're troubled in some way. I don't know why. Maybe because they didn't get a chance to play or become a child, be a child, to play in the world. And maybe lacking that, they kind of lack those, perhaps whatever it is that you do as a child, that skills that you develop, probably is lacking when you grow up. I don't know, honestly, I don't know. But I understand what he means by if you grow up too quickly, your growth will be stunted. It means that you don't develop certain things that happens naturally as you grow older. When you try to speed up the process, you may end up skipping the things that are very crucial in your life. I believe that's what he means. If I'm wrong, let me know.
So it's very important young people focus on growth, because we are seeing this, like I've traveled across the United States, many of these universities. It brings tears to me when I see how it is. I'm glad, at least in India, most of the students are sober in the daytime. Really, I'm telling you, in top universities, daytime they're all gone. So we're becoming slaves of commerce. Because people have intentions to do their own thing, they're just enslaving the people, young people, because they want to sell their brand. Because it seems early age, if you get used to a certain kind of beer, that's what you're going to drink for the rest of your life. Yes, they have done research on this, universities have done researches on this, and they're supplying free beer in the school. Tell me, does it take a genius to understand this? That if I open a book which is of some complexity and I want to grasp this, if I'm intoxicated, can I grasp it? Hello? Does it take a genius to understand this, I'm asking? So, you don't have to… When your parents say something, they may refer to their religion because they think it's an authority. You take away the authority, just listen to the words. If it makes sense, do it. If it doesn't make sense, tell them politely, that's not the way it is with me, all right?
Okay, well, that's a very long one, so I'm going to pause the video here. But yes, I mean, he said a lot of things, but absolutely towards the end there is what the phrase, I think the most important take to that is. And plus, again, responsibility. In terms of the free beer in college, I don't know about that one. But then again, I didn't go to the top colleges either, so… Obviously, even if there could be literally everything free around you, but you must take responsibility for the actions of whatever you take from that. Then should you fail college or should you fail anything, you must take responsibility for that. Don't get me wrong, there are some bad teachers out there who will fail you even though you're doing very good, which you are not responsible for that failing, but you must prove that you did not fail that class. It can be rough. I don't know if I don't know if I've seen that, but I'm sure it has happened, and I'm sure it does happen. But yes, towards the end there, obviously, like I always say, always hear people out. They could have great ideas, and sometimes those ideas doesn't have to apply to you, but it could apply to a friend of yours or a family member of yours that you could give to them. But it's always good to just know things. Whether it applies to you or not, it's irrelevant, because sometimes what doesn't apply for you now may apply for you later, and you know it, and then you'll do it. So anyways, at least that's part one. That was quite a long speech that Sadhguru gave on that one. If you like my content, please consider subscribing, thumbs up, thumbs down below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next vid.